to Galveston State Park. We're excited that you guys are here. We're excited to teach you, and we're excited to see what kind of fish you're going to catch. A little bit about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer. I was an officer for 35 years in the state of Florida. Also, for 20 years, not only was I a law enforcement officer, but I was a game wildlife officer. So I was the guy that went around checking fishermen to see what they had and what they caught. So I'm going to be able to tell you what to expect when a law enforcement officer or a game warden comes by to check your fish. Okay, so it's very important that you learn the species, the bag limits, etc. Okay? I have this clipboard. I have a lesson plan that I'm going to go through, so I'll be looking at the clipboard on and off. Okay? Okay, what do you think the first thing you should do before going fishing?
Make sure you have all your stuff.
That's one. What about you guys? You guys have anything in mind? Check the weather.
Oh, weather.
Right? You want to check the weather because you don't want to be fishing and then a thunderstorm comes and lightning comes and you get struck by lightning. That would mess up your fishing day, right?
That's right.
Check the weather. What's the second thing you should check?
What do you think?
What do you think is the next important thing that you need to check before you go fishing that may affect you catching fish? Okay.
The tide.
The tide. Check the tide. You can Google it, your area, and just put tide for today at Galveston Island State Park, and it will come up. Now, the tides, the fishing is affected by the tides. If you're out on shore, on the beach, high tide is a good time to fish. If you're in the bayside, guess what's the best time to fish? High tide, low tide, or incoming tide? Which one do you think? Wait, let them see if they got it.
What do you think?
You don't know?
Tide.
You're close. Outgoing tide. Not high tide, but outgoing tide. And why do you think that?
Like the circulating? It's like,
You're getting it.
You're on the right track.
okay, cool. Good.
Why?
Okay, because when that tide is outgoing or going out, all the bait or like all the shrimp and all the bait that you catch is getting time to go back into the water from the
Right.
grass, and the big fish are gonna like be waiting there
To get you.
to get.
So just
Yeah.
imagine this. The tide is coming up. As the tide comes up, right, the water flow is pushing into the bay and pushing all the fish, the bait, the mullet into the grasses, the marsh, right? When the tide starts coming down, low tide, all those shrimp, bait, crabs, and everything else that are on the marsh are starting to flow back into the bay, and that's when the big fish are sitting there, boom, just. So if you can find a spot where there's a water flow of water coming out, that's where you want to fish. That's where you're going to get the big ones. If you like to go crabbing, that's the best time to crab, when it's low tide. It's a lot easier to get those crabs when it's low tide. And the crab, you'll see the crabs actually move more at low tide. At high tide, because we crab here, high tide you're not going to catch much. Low tide is the time to catch. Because the crabs are out there, they're looking. They're trying to get that shrimp that maybe died before the tide went out or something like that. Safety. Let's talk about safety. What do you think you need to do as far as protecting yourself from the sun?
Sunscreen.
Sunscreen, right? Now, a lot of professional fishermen, and this is what I do sometimes. See this shirt? I take this shirt, I do this. I do this. You notice I have long pants on.
He looks like a
I
ghost
have a
when he
long
does his
sleeve
coat.
shirt on. It's very thin, right? I usually wear white because it reflects the sun. If you wear dark, it's going to absorb the heat. You're going to burn up today. Then I also have this little gadget that you can get on Amazon for about $3.
He looks like
Do
a
this.
ghost.
I could fish all day long and not get sunburned, right? I don't really like to put that sunscreen on and all that kind of stuff. Also, this helps with the mosquitoes. If you're in Galveston State Park, especially close to sunset, you're gonna get ate up by mosquitoes.
Yeah, we're noticing it.
Right?
We
You
have a
notice
lot
that?
of mosquito spray.
Yeah, so make sure you have bug spray, all right? You want to protect yourself from the sun because you don't want to get what?
Sunburn or get skin
Sunburn or skin cancer, right? The last thing you want to do is get out there and fish, have a great time, and then tomorrow you wake up and you're in pain because you got sunburn, and then now the following day you're not going to be able to fish because you're in pain. Okay, as far as safety, small children should always be with who?
An adult.
Adult.
Right?
Or
An
someone-
adult that mom or dad told you to be with, not some guy that's down the road or at the campground that says, hey, you want to go fishing. You ask mom and dad first. If you get the approval, or you go with mom and dad, right?
Stranger danger.
Absolutely.
Stranger danger, yeah.
How about a fishing buddy? You should always have a fishing buddy because of, why should you have a fishing buddy?
Your turn.
Come
Why
on.
should you have a fishing buddy?
She has all the answers because she knows. Because God forbid something happens to you or your buddy, you can get help or you can help them. Or you can call 911. It's not a good idea for you to go fishing by yourself. You know, because God forbid something happens to you, you fall, you're wading in the water and you fall in the hole and you can't swim. You need somebody there to be
And
able
like
to
the
help
water's
you
not that deep,
or
but
call for help. So always have a fishing buddy. Okay, when you're fishing and you're fishing with other people, you should always be one rod length apart. So if you're fishing, especially here at the pond, when we have a lot of people, they start getting really close to each other. You can check your rod and go, okay, that person needs to be over there. And the reason why we want that, everything I'm teaching you is in the booklets. The reason why we want that is because you don't want to hook the other person, right?
That is.
When you're walking your rod around, you see this sometimes. This is not good because you can hook somebody. You want to take control of your line. Normally, I tell people just above the hook. You don't want to touch the hook because if you
You can
move,
hook
you can
yourself.
hook yourself. Okay? Just kind of when you're walking like this, or when you catch your fish, when you catch your fish. I know a lot of people are like trying to figure it out. You know, or they put the line down, the fish is flopping, right? After you do it for a while,
My brother did that.
you start learning the tricks, right? Put your rod there, right? If you're going to be fishing, get a tool. This I put on my belt, right? We got a fish flopping. Oh my goodness. You're flopping, right? You can get your pliers. Hold on. You get your pliers. All you got to do is hold the hook, and all his flopping, he's going to come off. He'll take himself off. That way you don't have to touch him and get all, stung or stuck. I'm going to talk about gear, fishing gear. Like I said, this is very, very basic stuff. This is a spin, and everything I'm telling you again is in your booklet. This rod is a spin casting rod, right? Very inexpensive. You can buy this at Walmart for $10.
I think we have that same one.
Yes, you do. I saw yesterday.
Yeah. And we
Right?
have a little one that size too.
Awesome.
That's in the trunk.
So that you know, the pound Teflon is 10 pounds right here. What does that mean? What does a pound Teflon mean? I'm looking at you.
10
Come on.
pounds?
That the maximum fish you can catch is 10 pounds.
Okay.
That 10 pounds of pressure is going to break this line, right? There's other lines that you can purchase. But if you look at the reel, it would tell you how many, where's it at here? It's on the bottom here. How many pounds you can put on the reel.
Okay.
The more poundage you put in, the thicker the line is, and the least amount you can put in it. The thinner the line, the more line the reel's gonna take, right? 6 pound test, if you guys wanna touch it, you can feel the difference. So if fish is over 7 pounds, it's gonna break it. 15 pound test is normally used for saltwater fishing.
Okay.
6 to 10 pound test, freshwater fishing.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can catch, like I said, you can catch the little ones we're gonna catch today. Braided line, this is braided line, and it's very thin. It's almost like the diameter of a 6 pound, but guess what? It's 20 pounds. It's stronger. I've used both. The only thing is that one's gonna tangle up more, a lot more, because it's so thin.
Okay.
Okay? I know you know how to catch this one, right? So you're gonna. Oh, the button here. You know what that button means?
No, what is that for?
It's called the drag.
Okay.
Watch. Right? So you catch a fish, he's gonna pull the drag. Now, if you have it so tight that you can't do that, that's bad.
Okay.
Because if you catch a big fish, guess what? When he pulls, he's gonna break the line. Or he's gonna pull the rod out of your hand, right? Or if you have it situated somewhere,
It's gonna flip.
It's gonna fall, it's gonna go into the water. If it's a big fish. Can you catch a big fish with a 10 pound test line?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
You just gotta be very tactful, right? So what you do is, normally I'll check, you should have that. You can pull it, not really soft. You don't want it like that. You
'Cause then
want
it'll
it
take all
like
your
in
line.
between,
Okay.
right? Because if you hook a 22-inch black drum, hopefully you'll hook one today, that's gonna happen. He's not gonna break the line. So when you're working the fish, you tighten it slowly, right? If you know your equipment, you'll know exactly where it's gonna stop.
So when the fish is on and you feel them tugging and pulling, you
Right.
slowly tighten it?
It depends.
Okay.
If he's pulling and when he's running, is doing that, you let him run. Normally you let him run, right? Once he stops, that's when you start reeling in. You don't reel in while he's running,
Okay.
okay? If he's running towards you, you're gonna have to run faster, right? Because you want the line to be always tight, right? You want that line to be tight. Why do you want the line tight?
So,
No.
sorry.
Why do you want the line tight?
So it doesn't get tangled?
These get tangled really quick. That's one thing. But because you want to have the hook tied against the fish's mouth. If it's loose, if the hook is loose, if the line is loose, that fish can do this and the hook will come out of his mouth. So the minute you get a bite, right, you're fishing. That's a bluefish. See him? And the way you cast it is you press the button, right? You bring it up. I can't do it here. You bring it up. When it passes like your eye level, let go of the button.
Okay.
And that'll be a good cast.
Daddy, I'm gonna pause it.
And it takes